but the room around Yulia slowly dissolved, fading into darkness. The shadows no longer moved. They froze as if waiting for the outcome of her actions. Only the figure in the dial mask remained motionless, its face impossible to read, but Yulia felt that it was watching her every move. "What would happen if I stopped time?" she shouted, trying to outshout the growing noise. "You'll lose more than you'll find," the timekeeper said, but the choice has already been made. Yulia turned the hand again, and suddenly the clock stopped. A loud bang echoed through the tower, as if the air itself was bursting with tension. Yulia felt an intense chill sweep over her body. She squeezed her eyes shut, and when she opened them, she was not in the tower, but in a completely different place. It was the same room, but it looked different, clean, sunlit, with a perfectly working clock. In the corner stood a girl, very small, dressed in an old-fashioned dress. She was scared, clutching a toy bear to her chest. "Hey, who are you?" Yulia asked timidly, coming closer. "You shouldn't be here," the girl whispered, her voice trembling. Yulia realized that she was seeing the past. This was a time when the tower was still in its heyday, but something about this place seemed wrong. "What's going on? Why are you here?" Yulia asked. The girl didn't answer. She raised her hand and pointed at the clock. The clock started ticking again, but this time it was not mechanical, but somehow alive. Shadows began to fill the room, creeping out of the corners, and in their center appeared the same figure with the mask. "You wanted to know the truth?" said the timekeeper. "Then look." A light flashed before Yulia, and she saw the shadows engulf the girl. Her scream echoed through the room, and then it was back to square one. Yulia fell to her knees, feeling the cold penetrate her bones. She realized that the tower was taking those who disturbed her peace, turning them into time-bound shadows. "So you were one of them, too," Yulia whispered, looking at the disappearing girl. "And now you'll be one of us," the girl's voice answered, sounding different, deeper, darker. Yulia found herself back in the present, but now there was nothing around her but the clock. The tower had disappeared, leaving her in an absolute void. The clock struck for the last time, and Yulia felt her body begin to dissolve. Yulia stood in an endless void, surrounded only by the sounds of the ticking clock. The feeling of her body dissolving became unbearable, but suddenly everything stopped. The clock stopped ticking, and silence covered her like a thick blanket. The figure of the timekeeper reappeared out of the darkness. His dial mask glowed with a faint, ominous light. "Do you realize that you now belong to time?" His voice sounded like the whispering of many voices at once. "Why me?" Yulia shouted, her voice trailing off. "I just wanted to know the truth. I didn't do anything wrong." "No one comes here by accident," answered the guardian. "Everyone who touches the mechanism